Hello Banshees. Today I'm painting a Banshee with Citadel paints, and it already comes with a shade, so I won't have to make that, but it doesn't come with a contrast paint, so I want to make a contrast paint out of this auric flesh base paint. So I have my mixture's already made up. So I have my retarder in water, which I use to make shades, but there's already a shade available, so I won't have to bother with that. And then I have matte medium mixed with water that I can use to make my contrast paint. And I tried to buy Citadel contrast paints at one time, but I couldn't get like a set of them. I had to buy them individually. So I kind of just gave up. I was like, if I can't even buy a set of these things, and maybe when they first came out, maybe you could. I just didn't know about it. So I'm gonna make my own. Okay, make sure I'm on camera. Very nice. The shades are really nice. They come in a big bottle too, so they last forever. Maybe the same thing is true for contrast paints. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of contrast paint in her armor and her belt. I think I'll put a little bit of contrast paint on the back of her cloak. I mean, a little bit of shade on the back of her cloak. In those deep lines. So I am using Biotan Green. It's what's kind of neat about Citadel paints is they name them after things in the WarHammer universe, which is kind of cool. All right, so I'm gonna make my contrast paint, and I think I'm gonna do my contrast paint on the cloak. On the back, I'm kind of doing it in different places. So when I first bought my Army Painter paints, I got a bunch of free mixing balls, and I added some of them at that time to the Citadel paints that I had. And now I'm taking my mixture Wow, I'm actually feeling like just one thing of one thing of the mixture is enough to make actually a decent, looks to be a decent contrast paint. So let's try it. Pretty good. All right, now I'm going to paint the white parts of the model. And I'm going to use Wraithbone, another base paint. It's got a mixing ball in it as well. That's good. Get some Wraithbone out here. I'm going to add a little bit of thinner to it. I made the thinner with water and thinner. U.S. Art Supply thinner. So I did her hand. Now do her arm and the tops. And the front edges. And her jaw. That's about all that needs it. Yeah, that's a real nice contrast paint. And this is going to be a method that I always use. Whenever I'm using a particular brand of paint for a different model, and I like to use different brands to get different effects, I will always make a contrast paint now. Unless I'm using speed paint, which is already a contrast paint. All right, now here's what I don't like about these containers. It's hard to get them closed, right? Because there's probably like some rubber like paint dried up in there. So I'm gonna try to dig that out with a palette knife. Actually, I'm gonna switch and I'm gonna do the lead belcher first. not very good. Get a little bit of thinner on my brush. Get her dagger. And then I'm going to do the metal parts of this fence here. And I'm not going to worry about getting it completely because I like the effect of the triple prime. Citadel, if you will. And I might do a little bit. Because next time I open this paint, I don't know if it's still going to be good. So I think I'll do a little bit on her belt. Gotta have a pointy brush for this. Just a little bit on her belt. If I can, I'll get the back of those. I'm not going to try for that middle one. Okay, a little bit more on the dagger. All right, and then I'll do a little bit thicker auric flesh. Just add it right to my contrast paint. And just do a little bit thicker on the bottom of the base. I'm not getting everything, just getting pretty much the ground. leaving some things unpainted on the bottom. All right. Now I'll go in there with my black. And some thinner. And I'm going to get the evilness that's coming off the end of her self. And that glossy black, if it stays glossy, would be real nice on the iridescent. Get the back of this evilness. Look at it from the top. I'm always concentrating on the sides, so it's the front and the back. So it's good to view it from the top perspective and see if you're missing anything. All right, and then I'm gonna just put a little bit on the handle of the dagger. get it on her hand. Just touch up the dagger a little bit just to make sure it goes all the way up to where the black is. And that's pretty much her. All right, and hopefully that's about 15 minutes. So I'm going to make another video when I paint the last one. And I got one more Banshee to go right here. And then I'm going to spray them all with the iridescent paint with the airbrush. Thank you, Banshees.